Pan-Africanism and building the Africa we want. These are two phrases that are usually interchangeably used, and we hear about them all the time. But what do they really mean? What does Pan-Africanism really mean? For me, it means a movement that is meant to uplift Africans socially, politically, and economically. Yet for me, these two phrases seem like such a facade and limited by barriers. And when I say barriers, I am not talking the beautiful lakes we have between our countries, the beautiful high mountains we have. No. I'm talking of the man-made borders, border lines, border controls that we Africans made between us. They are a facade because we treat each other, Africans, differently. We treat each other in such questionable ways. We treat refugees in questionable ways. We detain them and their children when they're seeking asylum. We put them in camps. Now, there's one thing I always say in Africa, you are either a refugee, you know one, or you're accommodating one in your country. And legally, theoretically as well, according to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, a refugee has a right to integration, to education, to movement, freedom of movement. Yet that is not the reality at all. For example, in my country, in Botswana, a refugee has limited access to higher education. Now that means a refugee has 0 to none access to universities and colleges. But what does it really mean for these two phrases when you have Africans, young Africans, stuck in refugee camps instead of in universities? That means those two phrases that I just mentioned, Pan-Africanism and building the Africa we want, they remain a dream. Just two phrases we always hear about. So you're probably looking at me and listening to me and thinking, so what do we do? The answer would be, let's integrate refugees in our communities. Let's integrate refugees in our countries. Let's advocate for laws and policies that actually bring out the rights of refugees. And as youth, all of us here, we are all voices of the voiceless. And I will say, speak up, ask questions, ask your leaders questions. And if they don't give you answers, ask for a seat at the table. And if they don't give you a seat, now take that seat. And before closing, I would want to share something about refugees that is usually not known. And by show of hands, I want to know who has lived in a country that was either war-torn or there was violence, or has shared a border with a country where there was war or violence. By show of hands? Great. That situation over there is an indication that at any point in our life, we can be refugees. We can be them. And if we don't speak up for them now, you will one day, or we will one day, live in that situation. Thank you.